All right, gun defense pointed at stomach. This is when my opponent has the gun pointed at my stomach. So most important thing with all these gun defenses is I need to be close enough to my opponent that I don't have to close the gap at all. If I have to close the gap even this much, he's gonna have time to react before I can get my hands on that weapon. So I've really gotta be within a comfortable arm's reach of the weapon in order to close the space before he can pull that trigger. So even then, you just never know if it's fast enough. So if he's got this right close, that's really ideal because I know right where the weapon is, you know, if it's somewhere in this range. Any farther than about my elbows against my body just seems too far to me when I step in here. So I'll go ahead and show the move and then we'll work through it. So okay, we'll go one more from maybe this angle. Okay, and we'll break it down. So, first thing I'm going to do, my hands should be up, okay? It'll be a lot easier to get my hands on this than if I'm coming from down here. Not a huge difference, but I feel it makes a difference. I want to close the gap here so that I'm getting past the barrel point. I don't want to just turn here and try and put my hands on the weapon because it's easy for him to put that barrel right back on me. So by closing the space and getting past the barrel, not only does he have to turn the gun, but he's got to step back himself if he wants to put that barrel back on me. So I'm going to step in, and with my thumbs up, I'm going to grab the barrel and his wrist. Okay, so here. A little bit of a better angle. Sometimes if you watch from behind, it's a little easier. I'm stepping in and grabbing the barrel and the wrist at the same time. One. So you can do this while he's distracted. That's obviously going to work out a lot better for you. From here, I'm going to use my bicep to block his tricep. I want to do this for two reasons. One, it prevents him from ripping his arm back and getting this barrel back on me. If my bicep isn't blocking and he pulls that arm back, that barrel's back on me. Okay? The other thing this does is it's going to allow me to bend that weapon back towards himself. So from here I'm going to point that barrel back at him, and what this does is allows this hand to reach the hand for the wrist lock. So if I don't have my bicep blocking the tricep here, I won't be able to create the wrist lock here. If it's just here, there's no pressure there, and again, he can just pull his arm away, the barrel's pointed back at me, and you're in trouble. So depending on how long your arm is in comparison to your partner's, you may only be able to grab halfway up the forearm. But that's okay. It's gonna be better, easier to bend the wrist if you can grab closer up, but if you can only grab down here, you should still be able to bend this in because we're using all this leverage on the barrel of the weapon. Okay. So, some tricks to allow you to grab a little deeper here is if you put your bicep up here towards his shoulder, it'll allow you to reach a little farther. If you grab down here on the elbow, put your bicep into the elbow, you can't reach quite as far. So you can see if I go up here, my hand can really reach pretty far, but if I go down here, my hand, I lose maybe about 6 inches of reach on this. I can't quite get to his wrist here, where if I go here, I can reach clear up to the barrel. So put that bicep nice and high on the tricep in order to get a good reach. If you're shorter than your opponent, that pays off big time. So We're bending that wrist in to put the hand closer to where I can grab the hand and create that wrist lock. I'm going to push the barrel down so that I can pass behind him easier. Here, I can't pass it, so I'm pointing down, passing through, and I'm going to push the gun through, bring it down or away from his hand, and I'm going to turn my body out this way so that I'm away from that hand. I don't want to disarm and just keep the weapon here where he can grab it or he's close and can punch me in the face. I want to get that weapon and myself, my head, my body away from that arm, okay? This gives me some time to get my hand on the weapon, and really you should have pretty good control of this. I'm kind of pulling his elbow back into my armpit and keeping good pressure on that hand. And if he tries to fight to get away from this, it's actually pretty difficult to get away from. So being at this angle here, it's pretty difficult for him to move. And then I can either just retain this grip or I can disengage by pushing him in the back, and really I'm just kind of at his back as opposed to looking him head on where he can strike or grapple or grab the weapon. So maybe once from this angle, again, have to be close enough that I can reach that comfortably from here. Okay, ideally he's distracted. I'm going to step in. Oh, I almost got killed right there. Step in, and my hands are going on the weapon. Okay, I'm getting past that barrel and keeping it from pointing at me, thumbs up. Stepping in a little deeper, shoulder to shoulder here, to where I can put that bicep high on the tricep, grabbing that wrist. Pointing this in, grabbing the hand, pointing the weapon down, behind. I feel like looking back here allows me to pass that weapon easier. And then I'm turning all the way back out, getting control of the weapon, and then hiding the weapon from him to where he can't grab it. I can retain this grip, disengage, always protecting the weapon here. So, one more time, maybe from this angle. I feel like it's kind of the best angle. 1, grab the wrist. 2, hold it in. 3, grab the hand. 4, pass it through. 5, disarm, turn around. 6. Okay, so there you have it.